Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's DIY tutorial, we are doing Among Us characters in the form of earrings and charms. So with that, let's get started. Here's all the different clay that I'm going to be using. Here's also the different utensils and little cutouts that I'm going to be using, along with some silicone molds you can use to cut out shapes and different things for your characters. And I also have some small ones. I have a knife. I have a rolling pin. A box of different kind of jump rings. And also a pair of needle nose pliers. So now I'm just going to be choosing 6 different colors for my Among Us characters. It don't matter really what colors you choose. I'm going to be choosing pink and purple, and I'm probably going to be choosing green. That looks pretty good. And making a blue one. Then we are going to be using white for one. And also we're going to be making a red one. So I just gathered the 6 colors I had, and I'm just going to take one and start rolling it and smashing it out to make the first character. So I'm pretty much just going to bend it over like this and press it down and leave the bottom part open to make feet, just like this. It doesn't matter if you get it perfect or not. They're supposed to be little characters that wear spacesuits, so it's okay if it's a little bulky or if it's thin. Right now I'm just cutting the leg section, and I'm just fixing it as I go, making a gap big enough to where you can see both legs, and then smash it around until you get the desired look. I'm making mine kind of bulky. I'm also cutting off any extra on the legs that I feel necessary. That way they're small enough for earrings. And just fix it again. And use your knife to shape it as much as you want into the shape you want. There we go. And I'm just going to shape it again just like this until I think it's perfect. And then I'm going to move on to the next one and continue to do the same thing for each one. I'm trying not to spend too much time on each one. That way I can kind of hurry up and get it done. I'm just going to shape it, make sure it's the way I want it, and then move on to the next one. I'm going to roll out the green and do the same thing. Just keep shaping it and making sure that it's the right size you want it and that you don't cut too much off, but you have enough left over. And then you're going to shape it out. Make sure you leave enough room for the gap in between the legs, and then continue on to the next one. Cut off any extra that you see that needs to be cut off, and cut out a leg gap and remove it. And then just start shaping till you get that desired look of your character, and cut off any extra that you see necessary. We're almost done shaping each character, and we're just going to make sure that we leave a gap in between the legs and cut off any extra and get rid of it, and then start shaping till you feel that it's shaped enough, just like this. I try to make each character about the same size. It's okay if it's not perfect when you're in a hurry or to do a quick project. Once we get each character done, I'm going to lay each one of them on top of the plastic container. That way you can see them and what they look like so far. Next, I'm just going to take my silicone mold, and to help me make the front of their helmet, I'm just going to start putting some white clay in the one that looks like a leaf, and it'll help me make the helmet faster. You don't have to use the silicone mold, but sometimes it is quicker to help shape what you need it for. I'm just going to do the same thing to each one. I usually take my little knife and just cut it in half and then try to form it into like a circle. That way you can use it for the front of the helmet like this. If your helmet gets too bulky, just cut it in half and then simply press it on top of your little charm, just like this. And if you want it a little bulkier, you can make it bigger. It really doesn't matter. I chose to make them kind of medium sized to fit on there. Just start shaping them with your fingers if it looks kind of lopsided. Then I'm just going to start making some more and put some more white clay in the silicone mold like this. And then it'll help make them a lot quicker. And cut it in half with my knife and then start shaping it again for the rest of them. Some of their front of their helmets I made a little too bulky, like this blue one right here, but I went ahead and went back and fixed them when I turned the camera off. Right now I'm just showing you what I am doing. That way you know what to do if you want to make your own. I just started shaping them some more and making sure that they fit on the front of them the way I want them to. And after I do that, I'm just going to cut off any extra if their legs are too long. I'm trying to make them each as even as possible. That way when I put them on the earrings, they won't look weird or different. Here's what we have so far. Now I'm just going to start shaping them a lot better with the end of my tool. I'm trying to see if they're too big or if I need to fix their helmets some more. The blue one's kind of bigger than I expected it to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim that white part down here in just a little bit. And I'm going to make sure I get each one of these the right way that I think they should look. Just patting it down gently around the edges, trying to make them more into a circle like this. I'm also going to try to shape their legs and make them look more like legs. I didn't have much time to really work on it, but I did the best I could. Now I'm going to take some black or dark gray and I'm just going to roll it out, and then I'm going to roll it into a little flat thin line to go around the helmet. That way it makes it look more like a helmet. Now I'm going to take the piece that I just rolled and I'm going to put it around the helmet just like this to make the helmet stand out, and just simply press it down like this. Then I'm going to continue to do the same thing for each of the colors, just rolling it out like a little snake, making sure it's small enough, and put it around the next one. It's okay if it's not perfect. We're going to go back in a little bit with our tool and kind of maneuver around the edges of it and make sure that it's connected to the helmet. Just make sure you try to do the same thing for each of them until the helmet is surrounded by the black line like this. Just make sure that you don't leave too big of a gap. That way you can use your tool to just press it around it a lot better. We're going to do the same thing to the very last one and just make a snake big enough around the helmet like this and just press down. Now we are going to take our tool and just simply press it around the helmet. That way it stays in place and doesn't come apart when we bake it. Just like this. I'm just going around the edges, pressing it against the helmet and trying to shape it a little bit more with my knife. I like using the knife, that way it'll help me make it look a lot better instead of using my bulky fingers, because that leaves fingerprints all over the clay, and the tools really help get in there and make sure everything is accurate. I'm making little indentions with it as I go, just pressing it like this. Now I'm just taking my fingers and just squishing the helmet down toward each other. That way it looks more like the helmets on the characters. This is what it's starting to look like. Now I'm going to take some light blue and just make a little line for the front of their helmet, like a little glare. Just like this, roll it into a snake and cut them in little pieces. Just like this. Now you don't have to do this part. This is simply if you want to, but I just chose to do it to make the characters more appealing, like this. And they don't have to be perfect either. You can go back and shape them with your little knife when you feel like it. Just pressing it down onto your character like this. I'm going to do each of them the same way. Put a little glare on their helmet and then go back with my tool and just shape it when I get the chance. Now I'm just going to shape the little glare part with my tool and make it more appealing. It doesn't really matter how you do it. This is just how I'm going to show you what I did for mine. Just simply pressing down on it to make it look more like the characters. Once I think they're shaped enough, I just make sure that they look the way I want them to, and then I'm going to move on to this part. I'm going to use the little ruby part with some colored clay, and I'm just going to make the square for their breathing tanks, and it'll help me make it a lot faster. Then I'm going to take my knife and cut it in half. That way I have different colored breathing tanks like this. I'm going to continue to do the same thing for all 6 characters. I'm trying to make sure that they are all the same thickness. That way they all have the same thickness when it comes to their breathing tanks. Alright, we have all 6 of the colors, so I'm just going to simply take my tool and cut them in half like this, and save the other half for the little hats we're going to make later on in the video. Here's all the colors. Now I'm going to take one of the little characters and choose a little breathing tank. I chose green for this one. Just simply press it onto the back and press it down like this. I'm going to continue to do the same thing for each of the characters. Just choose a little breathing tank like this and place it on the back. I'm using different colors than what they usually are, just because I want to. You don't have to. Once I get all them done, I'm going to work on their little hats. For this one, I chose to make an egg hat. I just took some white and try to shape it like the egg. Then I'm going to take a little ball of yellow for the yolk and stick it on top and press down like this. And there we go. I'm just going to choose a character and stick the little hat on and kind of shape it on its head like this. Next, I'm going to make a little Christmas hat, or at least attempt to. I just took some normal red clay, like this. And then I'm going to take some little white stripes and a little white ball and put it on there. And try to make a Christmas hat, like this. Now I'm making the white ball for the top. And then I'm going to bend it a little bit and roll the little white lines out and place them on the hat. Now I'm going to just pick it up and kind of bend it to make it look more like a hat. And choose another character and place it on top of the head like this. Just Make sure it's pressed on there enough, that way when it bakes it doesn't fall off while baking. Now I'm going to make some little cowboy hat or a little party hat with some green and some pink. I simply just put it on top of the green like this and pressed it on his head. Now I'm going to attempt to make a banana. This one was quite difficult when I first started because I wasn't sure how I was going to make the peeling. I'm attempting to make banana peelings right now. I'm going to be honest, it's the first banana peelings that I've ever made, and I already messed it up. Look at that, it looks kind of ridiculous. So I'm going to have to restart it and fix it. Yeah, it looks like a blob right now. This is so not working. But that's okay, we can always fix it. Take 2, we are now reslicing the yellow to make this banana. And instead, I'm going to try it this way, where I roll the white and just kind of make the peeling around the banana instead. It seemed to be a lot easier than the way I was doing it. Which, if you mess up, it's totally fine. It's not the end of the world. You just gotta find a better way to do what you're trying to do. So this is kind of what I'm doing. Taking the white for the banana part and kind of making the peeling around it, if that makes sense. To where it looks more like a banana, if you can tell. Or somewhat like a banana. And just place it on one of the creature's heads, like this. Now for the next one, I'm just going to make a heart, and then I'm going to put another colored heart on top of it for like a heart hat. They were sticking to my mold for some reason. I have no idea why. But then I finally got it out. I placed the pink part on the purple heart, and now I'm going to place it on the next character. Like this. On to the final character. I figured I'm just going to make some horns because why not? You have to have one evil character in with all the characters on Among Us. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make one little red horn for a devil horn and one little white horn for an angel horn. And I'm simply just going to press them on and then bend them into a horn shape. And this is what it looks like. Just simply press it on there and bend it until they stay in place so they don't fall off when you're baking. And here are each of the characters and their little hats. The banana looks so weird. And there's the horns. Next, I'm going to take some little eye hooks, and I'm going to take my little needle nose pliers and press them into the top of the hats like this. I kept dropping them for some reason. I guess I can't hold on to anything really small. Just make sure you leave enough room for the loop of your eye hook to stick out, but make sure they're in there far enough, that way they don't fall out, or when you're baking, simply press down until the loop sticks out like this. See, I keep dropping them. I have no idea why. I guess I just have clumsy fingers. Alright, we got all the eye hooks in there. And I put them in the oven and baked them for 15 minutes at 275 degrees. After they were done baking, I let them cool for 10 minutes. And then I got a bunch of jump rings and I started putting them through the little eye hooks on the charms. What I did is use 2 or 3 jump rings on each of the charms, just like this. I put 1 jump ring on the eye hook, then I put another jump ring like this. And then I got a little earring piece and just stuck it on there to make an earring like this. Once you're done, you have a little Among Us character earrings, or you can turn them into necklaces or charms for a bracelet, or it don't matter what you use them for, but you can mix them up with earrings like this. I'm going to do the same thing for each one of these and just put an earring piece on the jump ring after I put 2 jump rings, and just close them and make sure that they won't fall off. For some reason, this jump ring would not let me put it on there. It was just being super difficult, but I'm sure every once in a while everybody gets one like that. I finally got it on there and opened it and finally closed it, and had to get another earring piece. I'm finally going to put another loop on there, and then put our earring piece, and then finally do the last one. Don't forget the earring piece on your jump ring. Then you're going to close the jump ring and make sure it's closed tight. I was having difficult with this one too, because my fingers are starting to go numb. And just make sure you close it. And there you have it. You can make as many characters as you want. You can make any hats on them if you want, or they don't have to have hats. These are just what I chose to do for mine. And I'm gonna give these to my daughter for a present, because it's about Christmas time. And there you go. Here's what they look like with earrings. Here's a little bit brighter picture. And here's what they look like as charms. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
so good splash on my plate wanna get you 당장 매력의 head 답답해 wanna leave cannon or dash on your flavor splash on my brain attention you fade but can't me so bad you're such a slayer splash on my brain attention you fade but can't me so bad you're such a slayer
dancing on my ass like a move mad rat shit in my shoes pull up to your bed and never lose sip it that we're getting loose see me now, no one can take you off go time, bitch, please take that off swerving on the beat, don't need to get that car swerving on the beat, don't need to get that car I get that cash and I go hard spend all that cash on the fashion ain't gotta talk on the shit at all shorties just let everybody talk shorties just let everybody talk ooh, swearing with you going crazy, oh then I'll give it a day 어젯밤만 네 생각에 잠도 못 일어 yeah. 어젯밤만 내 생각에 뭔가 잘못했어 Just care about it cause 곤란하니까 Make me dizzy 알라 머리 아파 지금도 너 생각해 Yeah yeah Just wanna keep going oh yeah 오늘 내 약속이 oh yeah 있어도 break that shit 아직 갈 길 멀어 우리 사이 yeah You're so bulletproof 안기고 싶어 니뽀 지금 앉아 가사 쓰는 중 너 생각에 잠겨 yeah yeah
Crank me so bad 이건 내가 위험해 Don't tell my friends Check you I'm gon' dash Crank me so bad 이건 내가 위험해